Exodus 7. The bad news is that Moses still isn't leading his people out of Egypt because Pharaoh won't let him. The good news is that we finally get our first plague. Then the Lord said to Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. You are to say everything I command you, and your brother Aaron is to tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go out of his country. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though I multiply my signs and wonders in Egypt, he will not listen to you. Then I will lay my hand on Egypt, and with mighty acts of judgment I will bring out my divisions, my people the Israelites. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites out of it." I swear this is like the 9th time God has said this. Maybe if the Bible ever finished a story instead of telling a part of it, then going on a meaningless tangent, we wouldn't need to be reminded of the last episode every single time. Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded them. Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. Oh, great, they're in their 80s, because that's the age when you have the most influence, and the ability to walk 3 days into the wilderness for a party. Alright, I guess we can finally get ready for the Senior Center's magic show. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When Pharaoh says to you, 'Perform a miracle,' then say to Aaron, 'Take your staff and throw it down before Pharaoh, and it will become a snake.'" Listen, if any of you ever throws a stick at my feet and it becomes a snake, I will get you. I will find you and I will get you. And I will not say, "Well, I guess God really does exist." So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did just as the Lord commanded. Aaron threw his staff down in front of Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a snake. Pharaoh then summoned wise men and sorcerers, and the Egyptian magicians also did the same things by their secret arts. Each one threw down his staff and it became a snake. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. Yet Pharaoh's heart became hard, and he would not listen to them, just as the Lord had said. Wait. Pharaoh got all of his people to reenact the magic trick from God, and they all did, which they're not supposed to be able to do, and then Aaron's stick ate up the other sticks, and Pharaoh was still like, "Nah, I'm not buying this." But the real question now is, how will God unharden Pharaoh's heart? Answer: plagues. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh's heart is unyielding. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning as he goes out to the river. Confront him on the bank of the Nile and take in your hand the staff that was changed into a snake. Then say to him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to say to you, let my people go, so that they may worship me in the wilderness. But until now you have not listened. This is what the Lord says. By this you will know that I am the Lord. With the staff that is in my hand, I will strike the water of the Nile, and it will be changed into blood. The fish in the Nile will die, and the river will stink. The Egyptians will not be able to drink its water." Fish and the Egyptian people have to die because God won't just show up for 2 seconds and say, "Pharaoh, it's me. I told you I was real." And why is God saying Pharaoh refuses to take the hint when God is the one stopping Pharaoh from taking the hint? The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron, take your staff and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over the streams and canals, over the ponds and all the reservoirs, and they will turn to blood. Blood will be everywhere in Egypt, even in vessels of wood and stone." Yeah, I think we get the point, God. You don't need to go overboard. A river full of blood is more than enough blood. Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded. He raised his staff in the presence of Pharaoh and his officials and struck the water of the Nile, and all the water was changed into blood. The fish in the Nile died, and the river smelled so bad that the Egyptians could not drink its water. Blood was everywhere in Egypt. It's kind of anticlimactic after we were just told that's exactly what would happen. It's also kind of weird that we have all this blood and no actual murders. I expected more from a genocidal god. But okay, blood everywhere. Pharaoh finally gets it, right? But the Egyptian magicians did the same things by their secret arts, and Pharaoh's heart became hard. He would not listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had said. Instead, he turned and went into his palace and did not take even this to heart. And all the Egyptians dug along the Nile to get drinking water because they could not drink the water of the river. Okay, if the Egyptian magicians can just replicate God's best miracles, I think that means God is not very good at his job. I'm kind of fascinated by these magicians, and I'm honestly not sure why the entire Bible doesn't revolve around them. They deserve way more credit than they're getting. How did the Egyptian magicians turn the river into blood? I need to know their trick. God gets to be God. His miracles are quite literally inexplicable. But magicians, by definition, are not performing miracles. They're performing tricks. But this trick is real, which means they must have gotten the blood from somewhere. Which means there's a pile of dead bodies in a shed somewhere in Egypt, and I'm guessing no one in the Bible is gonna go look for them. Someone tell the true crime podcasters. I have a story arc for them. Also, think about this. Moses and Aaron turned the Nile into blood. But then we're told the Egyptian magicians did the same thing. So does that mean someone turned the blood water back into normal water so the magicians could do that trick again? And why isn't that reverse transition also a story? Because that would also be miraculous. And if all the water in the Nile is blood, then digging along the Nile for water would also lead to blood. Because that's how liquids work. There are some biblical scholars who have said this whole story may have been referencing the eruption of a volcano so that it seemed like the water turned red from lava. Except even if that's true, then how did the magicians copy that trick? Give Jesus credit. At least he turned water into wine. He got a miracle and everyone else got drunk. Win-win. 7 days passed after the Lord struck the Nile. This is really the beginning of the next chapter, but the Bible's editor, who has still not been fired apparently, forgot where to make the cutoff. If 7 days have passed though, then I'm guessing people in Egypt needed water, so either they all died or they began drinking blood. Why are we not talking about this? If there were vampires in the Bible, so many people would be converted so quickly. So Moses still hasn't led anyone anywhere. But we got blood water, and then more blood water. So I guess that's something?